The crazy news, the latest breaking news of Jameis Winston being suspended by the NFL for 3 games for violating the conduct policy. So it seems like, from everything I've gathered, that they've said that it's groping, I believe is the terminology that they're saying, a Uber driver. So that is why he's being suspended. And this was from 2016. This isn't 2017. This isn't 2018. He's being suspended of something that happened in 2016. So this is pretty crazy news. Also, you have to consider that now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be without not just one of their best players, but also their starting quarterback. And I don't know the situation. I don't know what happened in that drive in the Uber. I don't know what happened there. I don't really know if I want to know what happened. But Jameis Winston is going to be suspended, and so of course they've probably known about this for quite some time. And they've been able to go through it and been able to examine it. And now, even if Jameis Winston does appeal this, Jameis Winston will have to sacrifice the possibility of the suspension being upheld until next year, where he will potentially be making a lot more money because of the structure of his contract. The way that his contract is structured at the moment means that Jameis Winston is not going to lose a significant amount of money this season, while he would lose a lot more money if he were to if the NFL were up to upheld the suspension and then bring it to 2019, and then he would be suspended. Then he would lose a lot more money. So if you're Jameis Winston, you're thinking, I probably don't want to appeal this. I probably just want to get past it. And to use words wisely, Jameis Winston would probably want to, instead of eating the W, just eat the suspension. So yeah, Jameis Winston, he's not going to appeal this, I don't think. It's going to be suspended for 3 games, and we have to see how this is going to impact not only Jameis Winston, his career, his future as a quarterback, his career, his future as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise guy, but it also is going to impact the Bucs this season. A lot of people thought that the Bucs could potentially turn it around this year, be maybe one of these surprise teams. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, because in the first 3 weeks of the season, in already a difficult division where a lot of people suspect that 3 teams in this division are going to be very competitive, at the very least, maybe even all 4 strongest in the NFL. So the Bucs have to deal with their starting quarterback out for 3 weeks while also being in this division and to try and remain competitive. Now, who is going to be replacing Jameis Winston? Well, replacing Jameis Winston is going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick, veteran quarterback. So he went 2-1 in those 3 games. And yeah, that's pretty good. But when you look at the schedule this year, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for them to pick up any victories in this 3-game schedule. They start the season off playing in New Orleans against the Saints. That's going to be tough. Then they play at home against the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, after the Eagles have already played on Thursday night the week before, meaning they have more time to prepare for the Tampa Bay Bucs game. Then they play versus Pittsburgh at home. If I was a betting man with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback for the Bucs, I would say that's 3 straight losses. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in a terrible position, and it looks like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be 0-3 to start the season, playing the Saints, the Eagles, and the Pittsburgh Steelers to start the year. That's not good. Then being in the NFC South, that's not good. And honestly, you could see Jameis Winston costing his team a season here. You could see Jameis Winston costing his team to basically be put into a conversation at the beginning of the season at this moment before, where we thought, hey, maybe the Bucs would be in position to compete for a playoff spot. I'm not saying I would have predicted that, but I think a lot of people would have put them in maybe as a possibility. But now they're not even going to be close to that, it looks like. Now they don't even have a chance to win those 3 games, it really seems like. With Ryan Fitzpatrick, we really think they're going to beat the Saints, the Eagles, or the Steelers? No. So they start the season off 0-3. He comes back versus the Chicago Bears. I'm not sure if that game's at home or away, but you know how I feel about the Bears. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to be a competitive team. That's going to be a difficult team to come back after a 3-game suspension to play. You're going to be rusty. You're not going to have the same chemistry with your teammates. That could potentially be an 0-4 start for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you're talking about the Bucs going from a team just a little bit a day ago, going from a team where we thought, hey, maybe they'll have the opportunity to have a good season, a bounce back year, and potentially sneak into the playoffs. But now we're looking at them as being a potential team to get a top 5 pick in next year's draft. And I really feel like the Bucs did make a lot of good moves in the offseason. I felt like they were trending forward after a bad season, a disappointing season last year. But now it just seems like Jameis Winston and this suspension is going to completely derail that. Now, where does that put Winston in his career? Well, this is going to make Jameis Winston's year this year very, 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 very important. If Jameis Winston back for the Bucs for the foreseeable future, he may lose his job after this year because of the suspension, because of the idiocy off the field, because of the lack of consistency on the field. Sure, they might give Jameis Winston one more crack at it next year, but man, this guy is on the hot seat to perform. If he does not come back from this 3-game suspension and play well and play like a top 15 caliber quarterback, Jameis Winston is going to probably see his job and maybe even his days of being an NFL starting quarterback slip away. So Jameis Winston, this is a huge time for you, pal. You got to step up. You have to see, okay, I made a mistake, whatever. Move on from this mistake. You need to come back. You need to be better than ever. And your career is on the line. That's the way you got to look at it if you're Jameis Winston at this point. You got to say to yourself, if I do not perform once I'm back from the suspension, I already did something off the field that's unacceptable, and it looks bad on the organization. A starting quarterback should not be doing that. You know, any player, any person should not be doing that. And for a person to be the star and the face of your franchise, nobody's going to want that. So Jameis Winston, you're going to have to perform. And as for the Bucs as a team, it does not look good for the 2018 season. Let's get to the chat. Kevin Durcan is laughing his ass off. He says, this is too funny. He's rolling on the floor laughing. Kyle says, week 1 couldn't be any easier. Who dat? So Kyle's happy. He's obviously a Saints fan. So, I mean, if you're a Saints fan, if you're an Atlanta fan, if you're a Panthers fan, I mean, you're probably pretty happy about the suspension. Although I don't think you should be happy about any suspension. Like for me, any suspension is bad towards the NFL. If you're an NFL fan, you shouldn't want any of these players to be suspended. But that's just me. I mean, I understand if you're a Saints fan and you're playing them in the stretch. If you're a Steelers fan or an Eagles fan, you know, maybe you'll have a slight, you'll have a smile on your face, whatever it may be. But I just think, you know, it's not good because Jameis Winston, I feel like he is a talented player. He is a talented football player. And to see a guy with that much talent and potential go out of his way to kind of derail that and kind of ruin that and ruin his future, I don't really like to see that. I want Jameis Winston to be able to come back from the suspension and get his reputation back in order and get his career back in order and hopefully bring the Bucs some W's. Maximilian says, the poor get poor. Jameis is so dirty, hitting Lattimore on the helmet, stealing crabs, raping women, making obscene gestures, and cussing at a pep rally. I don't remember that. Eating W's and choking on L's. Maximilian, I believe. Are you a Panthers fan? I don't remember. But man, I just think, like I said it before, I just think this is a huge time in Jameis Winston's career, and this is a turning point in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise, because we saw a couple years ago, we thought that this team was trending forward. We thought this team was on the way up. We thought this was going to be one of the best teams in the league for the coming future. But with Winston taking this turn, and this franchise could be put right back where it was just a few seasons ago. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Just a quick one here, quick 10 minutes on my thoughts on the Jameis Winston situation. It does not look good for the Bucs or Jameis Winston. Bottom Line View for more NFL reactions, news videos, topic videos, and everything else related to the NFL. Subscribe. Peace out.